Okay, so it looks like we are live. This is our first live stream, and tonight we're gonna be celebrating Cisco Day. Oh, excuse me. It's the Cisco Day, and I guess the reason for it is I think it has something to do with the Star Day. I wasn't 100% clear on it, but I went, hey, cool, something to celebrate. Star Trek related. Let's do something. Hey, now you can. I think I look better this way. Well, I put my light on. That looks too bright, right?
Oh, today is the day he was promoted to captain.
Oh, it's the day he was promoted to captain. Not. I thought it was the day he got. He became in charge of Deep Space Nine. That's what I.
No,
That's what I heard earlier.
no, yeah, right here. I asked co-pilot. Today is a special day for Captain Benjamin Sisko because it marks the anniversary of his promotion to the rank of captain.
There you go. So now, according to Microsoft Copilot, that is the answer to why today is the Cisco Day.
Yep.
And today we're just going to talk about Captain Cisco and the things we like and we don't like about him. Trek Culture did ups and downs about Emissary earlier. I always liked that episode, but I always thought it was interesting that the first. I'm gonna say black because I mean when you're talking about the future, there's no African American because there's no American anymore. So I'm gonna use the term black, and if people hate me for it, I'm sorry. But you take the first black lead of a Star Trek show, and you don't make him captain, you make him commander for the first 3 years of his show. I never liked that. I always thought it was wrong.
But they were following not for the fact that he was black, but they're just following the military tradition of outskirt thing like Deep Space Nine being on the edge of a border that they don't really care that much about at the time would be a ship posting for a commander. Like the captain of
Yeah,
my boat was a commander.
Oh, he wasn't a captain.
No, he was he was a captain, but his rank was commander. His brother was a captain of a cruiser, which was cool because we raced them.
It's since you bring that up, I'll skip ahead a little bit. In an episode with O'Brien, he's talking to Nog about having to call because he calls Jadzia captain, and Nog questions her. She's not captain, and then at that point, O'Brien says, "Well, whoever is in charge of the ship is called captain." But they didn't call Cisco captain until he was promoted to captain, except when he was on the Defiant. Whenever he was on
Well, you wouldn't be a
Deep Space
captain of
Nine,
a space station. It just sounds weird. You'd be
but
a
they never.
commander. Now you would have the rank of captain. That's all. It just sounds weird, so they don't. For writing
Starting in
purposes.
season 4, he did have it.
Yeah, but then it made sense because he was ranked captain. But I don't know. It's not that big.
Well, if they would have just straight up started with making him a captain, it wouldn't have seemed weird.
It would, yeah, but then they get stuck in the same storyline of having to have him turn down being in captain, like they did with Kirk and Picard. And I assume the rest. I don't know. I've never watched Archer, so.
He is not promoted to admiral during the show. I do believe post the Federation becoming a thing, Archer does become an admiral, but don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure on that. But let's get back to Benjamin Lafayette Sisko, and I am actually probably going to buy his autobiography that's coming out. I want to say in October. But more about Sisko. He is the emissary to the prophets, and that is my least favorite thing about Deep Space Nine.
It's the thing that makes it hard to rewatch.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny with Discovery. There was an episode where Jason Isaacs wanted to use the term "Oh my God," or he wanted to say something like Jesus. I want to say the phrase that he wanted to use was "Oh my God," and check behind you, Sean. Um, but um, but I don't know what I was saying.
Jason Isaacs.
Oh, in Jason Isaacs, he wasn't allowed to use the word God. Like the director said, cut immediately, and he's like, "What happened?" She's like, "That line's not in here." He's like, "I was ad libbing a little. I was trying to add depth to the character. He thinks he's gonna die. He says, 'Oh my God.' No, you don't make any references to God." And it's like, but in Star Trek V, we actually see God.
No, they see an entity who can be interpreted as a god. But
Yeah, and
that right there shows that teaches them that there's going to be other ones out there.
Well, and there's a reason that Star Trek V is really, really bad.
I don't think it's bad. It's just long.
And it might have a little to do with Cybok, but I'm waiting to see what they can do with Cybok in Strange New Worlds, because he was in the first season, and we keep going off of Sisko. So I'm gonna mention that he is a war criminal. And what's funny is I haven't dived deep into the comics, but if Heather Anto sees this and she wants to do a stream with us talking about the canonical status of the comics, I would love to have that conversation.
Yeah, I don't know.
But in the comics, there's the Star Trek comics that are out. They just have the God War.
It sounded like you were just about to actually give examples. That's what I was going to ask you. What do you mean in the comics?
The Star Trek has the line of comics. They had the God War. They have a Defiant series. They continued on past the God War. I'm not sure what. Then they have the Sons of Trek, which is actually a shorter series where it's got Nog, Jake Sisko, and Q2 in it. And it's them. I think it's like 4 issues. But in the comics, Sisko is actually arrested and put on trial for the war crimes that he committed against the Cardassian Empire. Well, I'm not gonna argue that, because it's comics, and the canonical status of comics is up in the air, in my opinion, because they feature Data, and we do not have an explanation how Data can be alive in the comics but dead in the real universe. So I don't know about the canonical status. But in the shows, we can look at 2 incidents that make him a war criminal. The first is when he bombs the hell out of the Maquis planet, where he poisons the atmosphere. And then the Maquis and the Cardassian colonies have to switch places, basically, because the Maquis poisoned the Cardassian planet. And he does that because he needs to catch Eddington. It is his ego that drives him to do that. He has to catch him. And then in possibly one of, if not the best episode of Star Trek, In the Pale Moonlight, he's an accomplice to murder. And if you think about it, because him and Garrick got the Romulan Empire to join the Dominion War, he is single-handedly responsible for every single Romulan death in the Dominion War.
No, because you can argue that this would have happened afterwards anyways. So you can't blame those deaths on him. But the other stuff, yes.
Yeah, you can.
I don't know. Because who's to say the Dominion wouldn't have just continued on right into Romulan space? Did it anyways? Sitting out.
Yeah, but
let them just sit there.
But yeah, and that's the argument that he wanted, that Sisko was using to get the Romulans to
Yeah.
join. But at the same time, the Romulans weren't in it, and they might. And let's be honest, the Federation was on the losing edge of it. And then we see in Discovery that they have actually almost lost another war. They almost lost to the Klingons. But we see.
Their own hubris is why they were losing to the Klingons.
Yeah, and I don't
How
remember where I was going with the other
how
thing.
many different ships were out there on 5-year missions that they could have called back?
All we know about is the Enterprise, and
and all the Section 31 ships that just keep popping out of nowhere.
Right, that are secret, that nobody knows about, but everybody does.
Yeah, no, they're victims of their own stupidity.
Well, and in season 2 of Discovery, they basically admit that the reason why the Enterprise wasn't called back for the Klingon War was because they wanted the best to be. Yeah, it's a dumb reason. That I think it's a dumb reason too, but it gets the point through, and it keeps the narrative moving forward, and we don't lose Pike before his time. And Pike already knows how he's going to die, which is, weird. I'm going to. I am waiting for my face to melt off. But
what's messed up is they've shown, okay, so the lady died, but the android lady in Discovery, why couldn't they do something like that to Pike?
The whole cybernetics in Discovery, and then the nanobots in Section 31, I don't follow along with a lot of that because it seems out of place. The technology doesn't exist in that time period, because we literally see Wesley Crusher put 2 nanites together in the season 1 or the season 3 episode opener, and he makes them start evolving, and that's the first time this has ever happened before. And
unless Section 31 had done it and not told anyone. I mean, it's not like they would have published their findings.
I think nanites are
I agree, but
there would the nanite part, yeah, the ship thing and the hidden base, that's all stupid and whatever. And to be honest, Section 31 was one of my favorite things about Deep Space Nine. I mean, I named my homes. My home Wi-Fi is called Section 31. So I'm a big fan of Section 31, but to be honest, the new Trek has actually put a real stain on Section 31.
Well, they got a mostly reboot, technically. I'd say Section 31 got wiped out, except for basically Ash.
Well, that was going to be my thing. That Section 31 went from being a known, kind of unknown thing, where everybody in it is murdered except for Ash, like you said. Did we really need it to come back? But and I like the storylines that involve Section 31. I mean,
the Federation has to have some type of shadow CIA organization, and if they already have a designation for it, why not just use it? That's probably what they're going to do.
I don't know, the genocide on the founders, that actually, for whatever reason in the 90s, didn't seem like it was that bad. I mean, we are talking about science fiction, and the other one of the other Star franchises blows up an entire planet in the first 5 minutes. So what's a little genocide compared to blowing up a planet? But when Section 31 is such a big entity in pre-original series, and then it's down to nothing, and then again in Lower Decks, Section 31 is now a known thing because Boimler's walking around. No, this I'm speed walking. This is what Section 31 does. He shouldn't.
Well, probably
he shouldn't know about them
because DS9 they got a little more. No, they were sloppy.
Wouldn't all that stuff be top secret?
Yes. So that means that who's ever in charge, it's probably in their bedroom. sitting right on the bedside table in a fold.
So it wasn't in the bathroom.
Right.
So back to Sisko. So one of the things that on that show, Trek Culture pointed out earlier is that they do make a point of saying that he came from after Wolf 359. He did go work at Utopia Planitia, and I always thought that was a nice little thing that they threw in there, because when season 3 starts, they already have laid the seeds for him coming with the Defiance, because he'd already been working on it since Wolf 359, and of course he wants to kick the Borg's ass because Locutus killed his wife, so he's gonna build the big bad Borg killer that ends up not killing any Borg ship ever. But it won a lot of battles in the Dominion War, so yay. Go Enterprise E. You can do it all by yourself, apparently. But no offense to that movie, I would actually have to say First Contact is my favorite Star Trek movie. And that's painful to say. That's painful to say as I'm wearing a Citation Ops shirt, and we had the whales in 4, so...
Well, they are remaking First Contact.
I hope that is very, very wrong.
Nope, it's a Paramount movie, and it's going to be about First Contact. Not First Contact the movie, but about First Contact, supposedly.
The time frame has not been confirmed. Okay. That is speculation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's the time frame has not been confirmed. I think the only thing that's been confirmed is that they got a director or a writer. That was what was confirmed this week. But with that I'm hoping that takes place during the final episode of Enterprise. And you know what? Get back Scott Bakula and Hoshi and Reed. Bring them all back. Do a big ass movie like you would you say a Next Generation movie. Now we're doing a sequel to Enterprise. We're actually going to do the Federation, the building of the Federation, the signing, the Tellarites, and everyone come together and they actually sign the paperwork. Let's bring back Jeffrey Combs and put him back in his Andorian his Andorian antennae. I love Jeffrey Combs. Anything to get Jeffrey Combs on screen in Star Trek I'm happy about. And we still, you know what? Speaking of Jeffrey Combs, he played Wei Yun on Deep Space Nine, and you know what? If there was a fun foil for Sisko, it would have been Wei Yun. The real on rival, of course, was Dukat. Oh, I saw Dandelion.
Yep.
And that's a cat. For anyone wondering why I'm talking about a flower. But I don't remember where I was. Your cat distracted me. That's my ADD.
Said something about building a cat.
What?
I don't know. Said I swear you said building a cat.
Actually, I can't hear you.
Oh, well, I need to look at the microphone and talk louder.
Oh, there you go. That would be great.
The only microphone I could get to work was the one that's on the camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I've got my microphone on my head.
This one, it just wouldn't pick up for some reason, so.
That's weird. Oh, well. We need to get you a new headset. Hey,
yeah,
if you're watching... What?
I said one of these days.
Yeah. If you're watching this and you want to donate to us, I don't know if you can do that, but if you can, there's a button for it. No, nobody's watching this. We're just talking to ourselves. Let's go back to Sisko. Sisko is the first good father. I want to say on TV, but I mean, that's mostly because Bill Cosby's really been tainted at this point. But yeah, it's nice seeing Sisko as a dad throughout the show. You might want to say, Well, I mean, I think Chopper's a war criminal too.
But okay, now you didn't let me tell you why I thought he was a war criminal.
Who, Chopper or
Cisco.
Cisco?
Well, okay, so all
Lean
right,
forward because your hat
yeah, I
is
saw that. It's
going
weird.
is blurring out.
There we go. So, and one of the episode of Discovery we were just talking about, where we get to the Section 31 base. Remember, it's surrounded by mines,
Yes.
and Captain Pike at the time says those are illegal, like straight up, blah 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 blah. I don't remember what accord he said, and that made me remember. I think we talked about it on the phone. Sisko hella mined the shit out of the wormhole. Remember?
Yeah.
So there's a glaring example of it being a war criminal. He made those are my favorite mines, the self-replicating ones.
Oh, and Rom is brilliant for creating those.
Yeah. And a war criminal.
He didn't put them in place, or well, you know what? He is the Grand Nagus. He can pardon himself.
There you go.
We got someone else who wants to pardon himself too. Oh, here you go. The reason that that in Pikes and this works for Sisko too, because they were created on Deep Space Nine. But the reason that the mines are not illegal in Section 31 is because they were not created by the Federation, and Pike says that he considers that a distinction without a difference. And you know what? You might be able to apply that same distinction to Deep Space Nine. It was created on a Cardassian space station run by Bajorans. Hi. Thank you for wearing a shirt. But yeah, it looks like there was some. Do you remember the episode of Deep Space Nine with the albino Klingon?
Yes, big.
He had mines in his solar system too.
Okay.
But that, yeah, I'm looking at memoryalphafandom.com, their wiki about mines, and it is telling me everything about mines from 2152 to the 32nd century when the Emerald Chain uses them.
Which I will be getting to here soon.
Yes. Have you met have you seen the character Rin yet? You might not have. No, you should have, because because they needed Giorgio. Yeah, right. I've talked to that guy on Twitter.
Oh, very cool.
I think I might have even direct messaged him or something, because he and I talked about Dungeons and Dragons a little bit back and forth. He's the DM for Disco Does D&D.
Nice.
So if anybody wants to watch the cast of Discovery do D&D, they have a YouTube channel. Go check it out. So what else about Sisko? I thought in the first episode and kind of the first two seasons, whenever his dad gets mentioned, it's his dad's mentioned as was. And then we finally get to meet oh damn, what's his name? What's the dad's name in Deep Space Nine?
I don't remember his name. Mr. Sisko.
Mr. Sisko, thank you. That's very helpful. Oh, yeah, no, we finally meet him when we finally meet him when Section 31 infects Odo with the genocide virus. Because that's where he is at Federation headquarters.
He runs a restaurant that doesn't accept money.
And in Lower Decks, he serves Ketracel white hot sauce.
Okay.
Have you not seen season 3 of Lower Decks?
Oh, I have. I just didn't catch that.
Oh yeah, when they're at Sisko's restaurant, Mariner and Boimler put the hot sauce on, and Boimler is dying from the heat, and Mariner's like, "Oh, this has got a little kick to it." What other good things can we say about Sisko? Because it is Sisko Day, but I feel like we're talking about everyone but Sisko. Yay, Colomini to the most important man of the Federation.
I can't remember what I was going to say. He's got some of the coolest episodes, but he's also got some of the worst episodes. Like most of the flashback episodes are just, I don't like
them. The flashback episodes, like the ones that happen in the wormhole.
Those are annoying, yeah. And yeah, or like especially the one where he's stuck in the insane asylum. I really just don't like that episode. He's a great actor in it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, Avery Brooks is great. You just don't like the storyline.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't. It's always very bog.
To be honest, I don't like the storyline about the prophets being responsible for Sisko's basically his existence. Yeah. I don't like that because they also, when time is not linear to them, they also do not know who he is or what he is. Yet they had one of their people live as a human for 2 years, so it really doesn't make sense when you think about it.
They wrote themselves up very nice, but it's okay. That's what happens when you have to have 25 episodes a season.
And you know what? Some of those filler episodes are some of the best episodes, and it is sad to say we will have less filler episodes because when they only do 10 episodes a season and they want it to be meaningful, you have to do all storyline. We can't have a Lower Decks has given us a couple filler episodes. They literally just called them holodeck episodes, and we get I was going to say Bride of Chaotica, but we get Vindicta. so they're not filler episodes though because Mike McMahon is doing it on purpose. He's like, oh, we have to throw in a filler episode because it won't feel like Next Generation if we don't.
Yeah.
So,
honestly, it's been a while since I watched Deep Space Nine. I mean, I watch them here and there on whatever streaming service, but not that often.
Yeah, honestly, I just got finished watching Next Generation, and Voyager just automatically started playing after that, so I just went with it.
There you go.
But I think it's only been like 2 or 3 months since I watched Deep Space Nine. I mean, I do watch them literally every night before I go to sleep. It's the thing that plays at night. Since it is midnight, since it's 12:30 on the East Coast, and we talked about Sisko for a little bit. Sisko's a great guy. I've got the baseball hat. One thing I'll say, Sisko is a San Francisco Giants fan, and as a natural-born Californian, I'm glad that he's representing. And you know what? I'm glad that he's representing the San Francisco Giants and not say the Oakland A's, since they're moving and leaving Oakland.
Yeah,
so it's actually great that he supported a team that actually might still exist until baseball collapses and goes away. Because
remember when
they talked about that in the show.
Well, you're a Niners fan, so you will remember when it was either you were a Niners fan or a Raiders fan in this area, and that was it. Now that you see nothing Raiders,
I see more Raiders stuff than I'd like to. Honestly, I really thought that people were going to feel abandoned and give up on them. I didn't want them to come over to the 49ers. I didn't want them to be 49er fans. Don't get me wrong on that. The Raiders fans scare me. But if the 49ers left San Francisco, I probably would stop watching football. I probably would completely stop watching the sport and be done with it. To be honest, it's the only sport I watch. I used to watch a little baseball. I liked Ken Griffey Jr. when I was growing up. First baseball game I went to was a Mariners game, and he hit a home run, so he became my favorite sports guy. I didn't stick with it that much. Baseball, there's a lot of seasons, or there's a lot of games per season, so I can't get
and then
into
they
it
had
as
that
much.
strike right when it was in the years when we would have been watching it to get into it.
That's
I don't
true. The
know if you
late
remember
90s,
that. You're a little younger, but
dude. I'm like
that's I was
400
really
days.
into it.
I'm not even 400 days younger than you.
I used to collect cards and everything, and they went on strike, and I was like, well, I washed my hands of this.
I think everyone our age collected cards because I still have some of my old baseball cards. I want to go through them and see if they're worth anything, but I just hunched over the cards looking through them. I think would just kill my back, and I don't want
You
to
don't
do
even
that.
need to do that anymore. You just hold them up to your camera and flip through them with the damn thing to profit.
Well, now I have to go to my storage unit and find my goddamn baseball cards, Sean. Thank you. Did I
No
mention
problem.
that I had Did I mention that I had at least one full complete next generation card set in there too? Because in the late '90s they had a card deck, and I bought two of them because
Oh,
I
nice.
was a stupid teenager.
My buddy,
It was the first Star Trek convention I went to back in Sacramento, 1998.
yeah, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. I got a friend of mine who really likes random card games like Magic and stuff like that. And he's playing, I don't know what it's called, whatever popular one there is one right now. And he just buys packs every once in a while at the local comic book store. Nothing, he doesn't go out of his way. He's selling one on their website for $500 right now.
Is that friend
So,
Kenny?
no, no, it's not Kenny. But I was looking at it. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
You know, I think I played Magic for like 2 months my freshman year. It was right after my dad died. I was in a weird place, and I couldn't get into it. I don't know if I could
Yeah.
pick it up now.
The times I would have been playing it, I was playing EverQuest. I never did. I got too much in
But
MMOs.
you and your wife are doing a rewatch, or probably mostly a first time viewing
Just a
for
watch, yeah.
at
First
least for these
watch.
later seasons. First
Definitely.
watch. You have just started possibly the greatest episode of season 3. Tell us so far a little bit about what you're thinking about that.
Well, if you're talking about Terra something, I can't think of what it's called. Giorgio
Not Terra Nova.
literally, yeah, that's it.
No, it's not Terra Nova, is it? Terra
Yeah,
Nova
Terra
was a
Nova.
show.
Good one. Oh, well,
Oh,
Terra.
okay.
Let me go. Let me bring it up, and I'll tell you right now.
Well, you might give yourself a spoiler if you look that episode up.
No, I'm just going right to my Terra Firma. I knew I was saying it wrong.
Terra Firma. Okay.
Season 3, episode 9. We are halfway through right now. She just popped up over into her whatever door hallucination, whatever's going on there.
Oh, it's great. Oh, when she meets Subaru, it's great. I was never a fan of the original series. You and I are going to always argue about that.
Because
I
you
haven't watched all
them,
the episodes. I just can't get into it. I don't know why. And you know what? It's probably the same reason that I can't get my niece to get into Next Generation, because it's not cool and new looking. It's not the Trek I grew up with. It was already
you can't
outdated.
get into the nostalgia, which I grew up on that one. I watched that one first, not on purpose. I just probably got lucky, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't watch any Trek until my mom got married to my stepdad, and then he introduced me to Next Generation at 5:00 on Fox 40 every single weekday. So that's how I started watching it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, at first I didn't like it. It was boring and it was slow. And then after you watch it every single day for about 2 or 3, 4 months, you start to get into it, and you start to want to know the characters and what's going on. So
it took you that long to get into it. No wonder I can't get you to watch anything.
Well, I
Watch
was
Venture Brothers.
10.
I'll give it 10 episodes.
Oh yeah, my attention span, unless it catches me like that, like I can't. It's really difficult for me to go back and rewatch the first 2 seasons of Picard. Third season of Picard, I can watch one episode of that at a time. It's great, but I can't. The first couple episodes of the seasons don't pull me in and make me want to watch the rest. My ADD just kicks into gear, and it's like, okay, this is boring. Go away.
Well, it's too broad of a story. Like it's a 9-hour movie almost. It's like sitting down to watch all 3 Lord of the Rings movies, but on purpose.
No, well, no, because the Lord of the Rings movies, you only have to watch one movie to get the 9-hour cut.
No, that's true. But I mean, if you just watch the actual cut, it's a little over 9 hours, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah. I think the three extended is just a little over 12 hours.
Yeah, because if you can do it, you can binge.
There's a 9-hour
the Lord
cut.
of the Rings. There is a
There's
9-hour
cut. There's a 9-hour cut of the first movie of the Fellowship. And every time Samwise Gamgee takes a step further away from home and closer to Mordor, he says, "This is the furthest I've ever been." And it loops every time he takes a step. And it is the funniest thing. Me and Katie got to like 35 minutes. And it was, oh my God, we were dying in tears so bad. It was ridiculous. I loved
thought
it.
you were talking about like a legitimate cut.
It is a legitimate cut, legitimately.
No,
cut
like
on the
Peter
internet.
Jackson super duper director's cuts.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, man. We watched it too. We watched it up until, I think we gave it like 5 minutes of it just looping every time he took a step, and he got out of the first area, like the cornfield.
He got out of the Shire.
Half an hour. That took forever. Oh my God, we were dying. I actually meant to show you guys when we had D&D. I will next time.
You mentioned it to me before. That's
okay.
But you just briefly mentioned it, which is why you got me like, and then you tell me it's that one. I'm like, oh, you got me.
No, it's pretty great too.
So I know what happens in this story with Carl. What do you think is up with Carl? And I just want to see if you have any clue. Who is Carl?
Okay, well, you've got a couple of options. I'm going to go with, I have no idea, but I'm like some type of alien with big head.
The Telosians?
Probably, yeah.
From The Cage?
Yeah, that would make sense. Something like that. Some type of alien like that. Or a floating head. Maybe a Q, but it doesn't seem to be a Q because he would have said, "I'm Q." They don't really ever go by a different name.
According to Strange New Worlds / Lower Decks, during that time period, they had a whole Trelawney thing going.
Oh, what?
Trelawney, the godlike character from the Next Generation, or from the original series.
It's been a while.
Yeah, well, if you would have watched the Deep Space or the Lower Decks Strange New Worlds crossover once a month, like I do, because it's funny as hell, you would know it better.
Yeah, I don't remember shit anyway, even if I did watch it.
Yeah, and people are complaining online, and I'm not one of the ones complaining yet. But we were supposed to get Prodigy season 2 by the end of spring, and we're less than a month away from the end of spring, and the producers are telling us to be patient. Well, Netflix announced all their stuff for June, and Prodigy isn't on there.
Oh, gotcha.
But have you? Did you see that thing I sent you about Skeleton Crew?
No.
For Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Oh, no.
They are taking the Star Trek Prodigy literal template and moving it to Star Wars. Young kids are discover an abandoned ship. They're mentored by an older mysterious figure, and they leave the planet in search of a new home. That sounds like Prodigy to me.
Very generic too, though. If you do anything with
but
Lord of the Flies or something.
Coming so close off of Prodigy, though, And to be fair, Star
All right.
Trek
How much
3
new Trek? How much new Trek reeks of Star Wars, anyways?
New Trek?
Yeah.
I
I'm
would say
sorry,
not
but
as
Star
much
Trek
as
is
you think.
there. You get fucking. Oh, sorry.
Take
Laser
take take
blasts
the
and phaser blasts.
Take the Abrams verse out of it because he did
I'm
drop a
not even
bunch of
talking
Star Wars
about.
stuff in it.
I'm not even talking about that with R2D2 floating in this fucking space and everything. I'm just talking about it's a lot more action oriented than even the Next Generation. Like they very rarely fired their phasers at somebody, and when they
Yeah,
did, they sure
no.
as hell didn't miss as much.
New Trek had to go, and this is one of the things that people complain about it, and I get this complaint, is New Trek is not as mindful. New
Nuance.
Trek doesn't make you think like the Next Generation used to. Like we had the Rasmussen episode of the Next Generation where the time traveler guy comes to the Enterprise, and Picard has that long conversation with him about, you know what happened, but you can't tell me because that could influence me. That is one of those mind things that you really only got with Next Generation. Voyager tried to do it. I mean, they had the Tuvix episode and they murdered that poor bastard. But
They did,
there's still what?
she owned it.
Oh yeah, she straight up she straight up does admit it, but that you didn't get a lot of that from Deep Space Nine or Voyager. That was a lot of Next Generation, and then we got the evolution. And with Enterprise, there was no thinking involved in that, unfortunately. I mean, don't get me wrong; the actors did the best they could with what they had. And you haven't even watched that all the way through, have you? Or you haven't done it in a long
No,
time?
after the what 5 seconds into it, you get a gratuitous sonic shower scene for no reason. I know that this isn't Star Trek, unless you're talking about Abrams' universe, and then I guess it was.
Technically, the first 2 seasons of Enterprise was not labeled as Star Trek Enterprise. It wasn't until the third season that they actually started calling it Star Trek Enterprise because they needed the Star Trek fan ratings. They're like, oh, hey, by not having the word Star Trek in here, nobody knows what the show is.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, I for the new prequel movie, I would love to bring back the cast from Enterprise and give them a good farewell because they got screwed out of their finale. It's basically it's an homage to Riker. The finale of Enterprise takes place on the holodeck of the episode of the Next Generation, the Pegasus, and he
Jeez.
uses that holodeck. He uses that program to help him decide what to do with the Admiral. And it's like we don't even end the episode on the cast from this show. It was
So you don't
he
even
even
know if the whole thing was in a hologram the whole time. How do you know it
and,
wasn't the
and it
holodeck the whole time?
no, and it could have been, and they've actually alluded to that a little bit. When Riker on Lower Decks, Riker makes a reference about being on the holodeck, watching some old Enterprise, and he makes a reference that that's something that they do, and that also gives us the ability to say not everything in the Star Trek universe is perfect now because these things could be taken on. They're on the holodeck and they could be embellished. The stories, yeah, they did kill 50 Klingons on Deep Space Nine, but they didn't kill them the way that they say. It was really just a phaser and not decapitating them with the bat'leth. I could see some of that kind of stuff because you're going to embellish. I mean, when you tell a story about the fish you caught, when you first tell it, it's this big, then this big, then this big, then my arms are out of the screen. It's that big.
Well, from what we understand of how they even do their stories within the Star Trek universe, they just pump in some information into the computer and it fills in the rest of it anyways. So it definitely, if it is on the holodeck or hologram deck, whatever the hell they have. Oh no, you were just talking about the Next Generation, so it's on the holodeck. the AI is filling in the blanks anyways.
Yeah. And hell, you know what? With how AI is evolving right now, I could actually see us getting to a point in our lifetimes where we can put something into the computer to say, show me a movie about the birth of Marilyn Monroe.
But yeah,
I don't
it
know
won't
why
be
you
very
want to
long.
see that.
That won't be very long.
You don't
There's
know.
already I don't remember exactly where they are. It's a college, one of those like MIT or something like that, put together a completely working town in AI of South Park. So
Oh,
it's
that's cool.
going all the time. They live and breathe in this town and as AIs, and they can go and tell it at any time. And they're computer generated, so it's constantly being rendered.
So
They can go and tell it to render them a web episode of, like, say, I need an episode to, render episode where Kenny gets killed by blah 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 blah, and it sets off the boys into this adventure, and it will freaking do that and generate
That's cool.
everybody else, depending on where they just happen to be within the environment. It's crazy, and this was a year ago.
That's cool. I haven't heard about that. I've seen
I'll look for the
guy
link.
from
I'll look for the link and send it to you.
I've seen the guy from Disney who's trying to create the platform that you walk on for a holodeck. You don't have to send it now.
I'm just looking.
Because that might be pain for our viewers that are not watching. Oh, hey, we have one view. I don't know if that means that they're actively watching or that we had one view, but if you are still watching, hi. Oh. It's probably my wife.
There you go.
No,
Just if you want to check it out.
I think my wife's asleep. But I'm looking forward to the finale. Oh, it is our good buddy, Mr. X from Madeira. Okay, you just totally. I was trying to use this Mr. X title.
Well, we were using our name, so you're right.
Yeah, I don't know.
You are
I didn't
right.
want to out anyone, but sorry, it's that guy's fault.
It is.
But I'm looking forward. I'm not looking forward to Discovery ending because I wish it would go on for another season. But I'm looking forward to the ending of it. The next 2 episodes are basically the series finale.
And are they going to set up anything to do with Academy?
They've already been laying the groundwork for Academy since season 4.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'm only. That's me.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah, it's linked into StreamYard. I clicked on comments.
Yeah, I saw the wave, but I didn't know the chat was up. But that's cool because we have a viewer. Although he knows most of our opinions on Star Trek. But you know what? I think that I'm gonna make the ultimate sacrifice. And after I'm done watching X-Men 97, I will bite the bullet and I will watch TOS. Because on Father's Day, we are going to have the grandfather of all video discussions. And we are gonna break it down. Picard versus Kirk. And Sean is wrong.
It's incorrect, but
Sean is wrong about anything that he has to say about Picard and Kirk because he's too invested into Kirk to realize that I'm right.
And you just thinking that Picard is better shows that you're wrong.
Oh, when we have that episode on Father's Day, because the reason we're not just doing it on Father's Day because I want to have an argument on Father's Day. Father's Day also happens to be Captain Picard Day, so that's the reason we're doing it. But I was explaining to the audience / our one friend. So I'm gonna watch TOS. I'm gonna rewatch the movies also. I'm gonna make notes, and I got a 50% in debate class, and I did zero prep work, and the debate was worth 50% of our grade. So you're going down.
I hung out with women.
I was not in debate as an elective. All the students were in debate class at my school because my school was stupid and didn't have electives.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I had the debate was about whether or not we should eat genetically modified fruit, and I can't believe that we're still having that goddamn argument 26 years later.
Well, I mean, it really depends on if you're dumb or not.
See, I don't want to get into this argument about this because I don't know where you stand on this.
I say irradiate the shit out of it all.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there's if you've ever watched the show Penn and Teller's Bullshit, they mentioned a guy who's a scientist, no idea what his name is, can't remember it, but he single-handedly is responsible for almost half the world being alive because he got wheat to grow in the desert.
Yeah.
I think they literally credit him with saving like 1.5 billion lives or something like that. So it's like he's a legit that guy. If he doesn't have a Nobel Peace Prize
for overpopulation.
Yep, because wheat makes you horny.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well,
But hey, it's coming. It's coming up on 10 o'clock. We didn't talk about Sisko as much as we probably should have, but I do want to thank the Seventh Rule podcast. They are in the description below. The Seventh Rule podcast is I have no idea what's being said. I heard something, but I couldn't make it out.
She said you just looked funny because she could just see you doing this, but the audio is coming through here. So she can't hear you.
Hey, Katie, look.
She said you look.
I have a microphone too.
Did you hear what she said?
I heard her say that I look like a DJ, so that's why I grabbed my microphone.
There you go. She said you look like a radio DJ with conservative opinions.
Oh, and if she actually heard the conversation we were hearing, she would know she's wrong.
Oh yeah.
But go check out the Seventh Rule podcast. There's a bunch of people on it. It's mostly done by Sirach Lofton. I hope I said his last name right. He, of course, was Jake Sisko, and Sean and his wife are going to continue to make fun of me because I'm pointing.
No, you're good.
Wag my finger at you, Katie.
She can't hear you.
I don't know. Okay, yeah, I know she can't hear me. But okay, it's closer to 10 o'clock. So I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna say goodnight to all the people watching this. Good night, John. Good night, John boy. See you later, man.
Later. I think I got to stay till it uploads, right?